Hi, I'm Mike Graham, and welcome to Tech Talk. Today, we're going to be taking a look at how to take an outdoor scene and bring it indoors using some basic lighting tenets. Today, we're going to look at using front light, side light, and back light to best light your performer, as well as using some gobos and some color to help accentuate your scenes. So let's go ahead and take a look. So it's a beautiful sunny South Florida day. We're out here in the park. It's a live scene. As you can see on Diego, the lighting is a little bit on the uneven side. This is on purpose. We're sitting in a space where you do have some shadowing coming in from trees. The color temperature out here, as sunlight is right around 5,600 degrees, is just over 5,600 today, which is typical for an outdoor setting. Again, you can see there's some shadowing on the sides of Diego. You can see that, but he's very well lit. You can see him very, very well. So let's go ahead and take this look back into the studio and see how we're going to reproduce this using some basic tenets of stage lighting. So as always, throughout the video, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in and we'll be happy to answer them as we go. So we're back inside of our studio and Diego's sitting back on his park bench here. And as you can see, inside the studio, we don't have the luxury of the sun and trees and all those great things that make up a park scene. So we get the privilege of building all that stuff in here with lighting. So let's start out and talk about what we have going right now. We've got Diego sitting in a silhouette. We have our cyc lit in a nice light blue, which represents our daytime scene. And the way that we're going to get a natural light look back onto Diego is using some basic tenets of lighting. We're going to use front, side, and back lighting. So taking a look at what front lighting does, front lighting is going to give us the start of a natural lighting feel. You can see that Diego is very flatly lit from the front, which means that there's not a lot of dimension to him right now because he's being lit from one direction. So the way our brain picks that up is just very flat, even lighting. So if we switch out to just side light only, we can see that we do get some side dimension from Diego. We can see the sides of his head and his body much more evenly. But we're not getting a really good light on his face, which is where that front light will come back in handy in a second. The last tenet we're going to talk about here is backlighting. Backlight, which is also called hair light and crown light, whatever you want to call it, has a function of actually pushing Diego away from the scenic elements behind him. This is designed to help us get a better idea of where Diego is actually sitting in relation to the rest of our scenery, or scenic elements. If we go back to our full cover, we're incorporating front, back, and side lighting all at the same time. You can see that Diego is now very dimensional. He's very easy to see, and you can tell he's an actual three-dimensional object because of the way he's being lit around him. One thing I do want to jump in here and say now is that we're kind of faking the color temperature here a little bit. As we were saying earlier, when we're outside, outdoor daytime light is right around 5,600 K. To create the scenes we're working on right now, I've actually warmed that up a bit and gone down to 4,000 K. If we look at what 5,600 K looks like, it looks like this. It's a little bit more blue and washes out Diego a little bit. You can see that his shirt and his pants look a little bit different now. His skin tones are a little less vibrant. So going with that 4,000 K or back to that 4,000 K look is about where we want to sit. What I am going to do here is I'm going to add in a little bit of front light with blue. What that does is it gives us a little bit of a color shift so that you can tell, yes, there is some blue light, but it's not pulling away from the overall skin tones, so that you still have a very natural feel to it. So in order to create the tree look, we're going to go ahead and dump everything back out and bring up just some gobos. the shadows we're going to want to produce here, A, have a little bit of color to them, and B, are going to be a little bit out of focus. So let's go ahead and add in a little bit of color. Give these a little bit of a green tint to them, so that helps establish the fact that these are leaves. And then let's go ahead and run the gobos out of focus completely, so that it has a more natural feel to what you would normally see in a daylight application. So now we're going to go back in and we're going to add in our overall front, side, and back light at the intensity that's going to give us the best representation of what we saw in our outside field. Our backlight is running really dim, our side light has a little bit more intensity, and our front light is just bright enough to not overpower those gobos so that you still have a natural feel of the breakup gobos and uneven lighting. So if we wanted to now, we could actually change our time frame a little bit. So let's say that we wanted to go from this daytime look to a little bit more of an early evening look. We're going to give the cyc a little bit of an amberish glow, maybe bring a little bit of purple towards the bottom to just give it that late afternoon, early evening look. We're going to change up our front light package and dim that down a little bit. In this situation, I completely removed our side light so that we do have a little bit more shadow, and my backlight's going at probably 1 or 2% output. As long as you can still see your talent on stage when they're acting, there's really not a wrong way to go with this. It's just more of a point of establishing that time of day. So transitioning from here, we're going to go into more of a nighttime look. There's 2 ways I like to establish nighttime. This is one of them. So basically what we're doing here is we're taking our front light and back light almost totally out, just leaving enough so that our subject is still lit. And then we're going to use those gobos at a little bit higher output just to create more shadows. Another way of doing this is by taking those gobos back to a harder edge focus. We're going to put one set of gobos into blue, to keep the other set in white. And what this does is it helps us establish that there is moonlight coming in through the trees and creating those shadows with moonlight. One thing to talk about here is that natural moonlight is actually around 3200 degrees Kelvin, but in theater we're using that blue to help establish the fact that it is nighttime, and blue is commonly used to simulate that. We've dropped our cyc output down quite a bit, and again, as long as there's enough light on our talent to be able to be seen by the audience, we're doing the right things here. Well, we hope you've picked up a few tips and tricks today on how to best use front, side, and back lighting to help accentuate your subject on stage. As always, we're going to be hanging out for a few minutes after the feed is over, so if you have any more questions, please feel free to ask. And until next time, thanks for watching.